Hey guys, Brandon here. We're at the Korean Outdoors Angler Retreat and we're getting ready to do the Hooked on Heat Challenge. We've got some anglers here that are going to answer some questions. Sean, our host, is going to ask them those questions. We got some 6 hot sauces here. We got mild here to the hottest. And if you've seen any of the shows, the bomb here might be hotter than that one. We're not sure, but we're going to find out and see how they handle it. So let's get to it.
Okay guys, we're going to start with the first. You're going to do your own. So if you mess up and put too much on it, then
it's all
that
me,
is that's your fault.
All right. That's a good one. Well, that's pretty thin, huh? Oh, Lord of mercy.
All right, cheers.
Cheers. I'm not dabbing that.
Rojo. Not bad.
That's pretty sweet, actually.
Yep.
That's pretty good.
Yep.
So nothing?
Not bad.
No heat?
No, that's good.
All right, so we're going to start with a question that's very non-controversial, simple, easy to answer. Do you think the new anglers are as good as fishermen as the old school anglers pre-forward-facing sonar?
I'd say yes in their own ways.
Different generation, different technologies, adapt and overcome. They've had to adapt with it.
What do you guys consider yourselves?
I think the new generation is just as good as the people that we grew up watching. Just because TV, social media, everything's been at their fingertips for so long. So you have, like, to say myself, I grew up watching Denny Brower, Tommy Biffle, just some of the great flippers that are extremely well known. And so that's what I grew up watching. But now also then I went to high school fishing to college and then seeing the technology get brought out, they're just ahead of the game of what, like just the technology and everything is just so more advanced that these young anglers are being able to be caught up and up to date more than what we've seen in the past. Like Google Earth, for instance, if you're doing map studying and stuff like that, like we got a paper map out here on the table right now. That's what you used to have to use. You couldn't just pull your smartphone out and look at a map and know where you're going. And
Go to Google Earth and rewind back 10 years and look at the water level when it's low and find stuff there that you can't see on a paper map. 100%.
Yeah. But the old anglers, they had to put their nose down and go out and find them in different ways that we wasn't able to. So I think in their own way that they're stronger. It's kind of a hand in hand, I guess.
Yeah.
Type of.
What would you say, in your opinion, is the cutoff between a new angler and the old school anglers?
I kind of count myself as kind of right there on the edge because I'm 29, but a lot of these new guys are coming. Like I'm actually one of the older rookies right now, so there's a lot of 25 and to 20-year-olds coming in. So like, who were when they were in college, that's forward-facing sonar was the big thing. That was, and they all worked together. They all learned it right then. Where it may have been a little bit. I don't know. I kind of thinking that 25, like the 2000s, like born around the 2000s,
late 90s, early 2000s decade for sure.
This next one is Jumpin' Jacks, Fire in the Hole.
Not too bad. Has a little spice to it.
I didn't really get a flavor off of that though. Did you?
It wasn't hopping.
No, it wasn't hopping at all. No, that had a real good sweet flavor to it. This didn't have flavor. It's just a little bit of spice. Yeah.
No, a little has. All right, what you got?
So what rank the fishing leagues best to worst and why?
I'm gonna say the elites are at the top for sure. And it would have to be the Bass Pro Tours right there in a close second with a lot of them. And the only reason I say NPFL is toward the bottom is Tanty Cooper. There was, in the top 30, there was 13 elites there was 13 elites in the top 30 who fished it. So like the talent, like a lot of, kind of like going back to your other question about like the talent and the forward-facing sonar, Patrick Walters. There were so many of those guys who went to fish the NPFL who didn't have live. They couldn't use forward-facing sonar, and they still were in the top 30. And that kind of just showed that they're way more versatile than people make them out to be. Which I think the NPFL is kind of like, it's cool because they got that whole mix. I mean, you have elite guys on there and you have Bass Pro Tour guys on there. So you kind of got that whole mix of all of them. So, I mean, if you're trying to make a living fishing the NPFL, I mean, and you're doing it, I mean, you're one of the best out there, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Do you think any of them have made any changes that may change, like that may end up really working out in the medium term, long term?
You're talking about like rules?
Yeah, rule
like the
changes.
rules, all the rules and regulations that's changed between the NPFLs. You said
that may make that ranking different over time, like a rule change that you really like or that you think is important for the sport.
Well, I don't know. I feel like a lot of this stuff is subjective. So when you say like a good angler, what is a good angler? The one who brings in the biggest bags, or the ones who can fish and catch big bags without live scope? It's subjective. Because we're talking about people who can bring in the biggest bags, regardless if they have access to forward-facing sonar or if they don't, then are we going to look at leagues that allow it, or leagues that allow it only in certain periods, or leagues that don't allow it at all?
Yeah.
So I feel like that can be really subjective on when someone says, like, who do you consider a good angler? Are we looking at total weights brung in, regardless of what they use, or are we talking about if they can use forward-facing sonar and catch fish still, or if they can do both? Because in my opinion, there's anglers out there that can do both any day of the week, and if they're so far ahead of the other anglers, if, for example, MLF, they have one period they can use it, the other two they can't. If they're so far ahead during them 2 periods they didn't use that forward-facing sonar, there's going to win the tournament regardless.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. Like on the Conroe one, I kind of enjoyed watching that because it was a struggle for them to catch them without the live scope. They would wreck them when they did, and so it was like a catch up every time. So there was it was a lot of fun to watch on TV. I really did enjoy that. I think right now with having 3 different leagues, I think NPFL's coverage, once they get their coverage where it needs to be, it's just going to help all of us because there's just that many more eyes on the sport. And whether you like forward-facing sonar or you don't, there's a league for everyone out there right now, and you can enjoy watching it. And I think longevity of things, it's just helping the whole sport as a whole.
Yeah, I think it's
grow.
helping it. It just brings diversity. Like, I agree with what he said. The fact that I think it was a good decision between all of them to not everybody just wipe it completely out. So, like he said, I feel like, the people who want to use forward-facing sonar, they have that option, and the people who don't want to use it all have that option. And then we can start talking about, who is the better fisherman in that. And do I think it's going to hurt any of them or help them? I don't think it's going to hurt any of them.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't. Because the anglers that's in that have that option to change if they want to.
All right, so this one's hellacious hot sauce. Let's see what it is.
All right. No, it's just runny.
Oh, is it just runny itself?
Mm-hmm.
We'll see here. Is it hellacious?
Are they getting hot yet?
No, it's already gone. For me, it is. That's one of them nasty ones.
I think the other one was hotter.
Yeah, but that one's nasty.
That wasn't bad.
I don't like that tangy taste to it.
If you could only fish one lure for the rest of your life, what would it be and why?
Numbers or quality or quantity?
Whatever you care about.
You can't throw a glide bait either.
Yeah, I know. We know what his answer is going to be.
That's a rule.
So just one lure.
I may
So
surprise y'all. Okay, that's why I asked quality or quantity.
Not one.
here.
I wouldn't even say one type of lure. I would say like one specific lure,
Color and all?
color and all.
Oh.
Yum Dinger, watermelon red. There's final answer. For me.
Rigged how?
Just Texas rig. Just
Or I guess you could rig it.
Yeah, well,
I
you
guess
can
it's
rig
one
it.
lure, so
It's one
theoretically you
lure,
could
I
rig it
guess.
however you
Yeah.
want.
I don't know a state. I mean, I think every state that has a bass in it will eat a Cinco or Dinger.
I'm about to shock
And
y'all.
Whether it's wintertime or summertime, I think that's a bait that you can always get a bite on. might not be the most efficient, but if I had to stick with one bait for the rest of my life, that would be it. You'd win a lot of money too.
How often do you fish that lure?
Often.
Often?
Yeah. I got a 100-pack of dingers that always sits in my boat.
So is that like your confidence bait?
It's kind of like a shaky head in a way. You know, when I'm struggling, it's a bait that all right, I need another fish. So what are they biting on? I'm struggling. I can put a dinger on and just lock that in my hand and normally feel like I can get a bite. Might not be a big fish, but you know.
Yeah. All right, Eric, surprise us. Eric's the swim bait maker.
I would say mine would be a 3/8 ounce PB&J Elk River jig with a 4-inch speed called trailer. Before I got into the glide bait making, I was a jig throwing fool. Like that was my juice. If I went somewhere, I don't care if it was 2 degrees outside or 102. If I wanted to bite, I would pick up a jig and I would catch one.
That was gonna be my second pick too.
Yeah, I feel like a bass jig is just it catches them all over, everywhere.
This is the Kentucky Straight Bourbon
It was a good shake.
habanero hot sauce.
Yeah.
Huh?
Make sure it gets a good shake.
Yeah,
So far, how many have actually tasted good?
just the first one.
Oh, that one wasn't bad.
Like this
think that
one,
was
I
bad.
didn't care for this one. Didn't have a taste, and that one was pretty good, but it was sweet.
I think you guys should start pouring more of the hot sauce
Oh,
on the
hang
chip.
on, let's just ease into this now.
Like that looks like some pretty thick sauce too. That one actually might stay on the chip. Oh,
Must be a creeper.
I can't get no more.
Must be a creeper.
It's that twangy taste for me. I'm not a fan of that.
What's an example of something that sounded ridiculous
Like, okay,
but ended up being true, related to fishing?
from my experience.
Yeah.
Okay,
And how it was proven to you to be true.
okay.
And if there are no answers, then we can skip that one.
No,
and
I
cut
mean,
it out.
this one is going to really kind of pertain to the glide baits, because I mean, like I said, I bass fished my whole life, and you know, I never really thought about the size of bass or what their forage is or what they eat. I mean, I've seen 3-inch shad, but fishing advice, and I've experienced this myself, is, you know, I've thrown 12-inch glide baits before. I was always told, you know, whenever I got into the glide bait game, I was told you can throw these big baits and the drawing power they have. Like, throw a big bait, because, you know, right now it's the craze is throwing a little minnow and getting bit. And in my head, you know, people told me, like, throw a big bait. You can throw a small bait and not get bit, but you can throw a big bait and you can get bit. And to me, in my head, I was like, that makes no sense. Like, these fish are not, I'm not going to catch, you know, a 3.5 pounder, which can be detrimental in a tournament, you know what I mean, on a 10 or 12-inch bait. And I've literally thrown a 10-inch bait before, and I've caught 2-pounders with it, a 1.5-pounders with it. The pulling power that a 10-inch bait has is so surprisingly shocking. I can throw an A-rig, I can hover rig over it, I can throw a jerk bait and over a tree, and I swear that I wouldn't see a fish in it or pull a fish out of it, and throw a 10-inch bait over top of it and pull 2 giants off the base of it. That's just something to me that, getting into this glide bait thing, that just really shocked me. Like, they told me, I was like, I'm not throwing a 12 to 10-inch bait to try to catch largemouth, but it's true.
Has forward-facing sonar actually helped reveal that? Because you can now
100%.
see, even if the fish don't hit it or don't come up to the surface.
So, compared to like Blake, I've only had live scope for a 1.5 years maybe. And I was making glide baits and fishing with my glide baits before I ever had live scope. So I was just making bomb casts, blind casting, and just working it back blind, you know. And I remember the first day I went out with my live scope, I literally turned it on, didn't change settings, seen a fish out there roaming in like 25 foot, threw a cast over it, and it came up and annihilated it. And I was like, holy crap, this is game changer. Now, it don't happen like that every time, obviously. But yeah, for fixing sonar, I've learned, and everybody says this, you know, I've learned so much. Just I can literally tell within the first 7 seconds when a fish turns and looks at my bait if they're actually going to commit and eat it or not. Very rarely will they eat it at the boat. Just the fish behavior, how they react to it, how fast they come at it. You know, if they come at it real fast and swirl around it, or if they just fall on behind it just because they're natural curious and they're just following it just to follow it. You know, 100% forward facing sonar has taught me a lot, and that's actually helped me build a better bait, honestly, because I know, you know, when people are using like my fast sink versions, I can bomb it out there and I can let that thing sink down. And when I'm working that, I know if that bait's coming up like this, or if it's staying at that level in that water column where it needs to be, I can adjust weights and fix that issue. So absolutely has.
I'll follow up to what he was saying. I thought of something that I've been told years ago. It was Timmy Horton. It was on one of his shows. I can't remember what show it was, but he was throwing a big bait, and he said, just what rule of thumb, fish don't have mirrors. They don't know how big they are.
I was going to say that and I forgot.
Yeah.
They don't. I say it all the time. I say that to everybody.
Yeah.
They don't know how big they are.
And so that kind of like, I'm not much of a glide bait fisherman, but I love throwing like the big Ben Parker spoon and that type of thing. And yeah, I can remember the first time ever throwing it, you're like, there's no way that something's going to bite this. And yeah, just like what Timmy said, you know, fish don't have mirrors. They don't know how big they are. They just see a meal or an opportunity. And my first fish ever caught on the giant spoon was a Kentucky that was smaller than the spoon itself. So that's a crazy piece of advice that I've heard that I can, you know, there's some examples there for that.
100%.
So if you're ever in a tough situation, a lot of people do downsize. They throw, you know, drop shots and get smaller and smaller, where just on the contrary, you could go bigger and get more bites in certain situations.
The next one is called Da Bomb. Brandon's been talking about it all weekend, talking about how hot this is. So let's see.
Have you tried it? You get to try it?
I haven't tried it yet.
Well, I ain't gonna lie. I seen the price tag on
Put some
that,
paste in there.
and it's $16. So
I'm about to get a big glop of this.
Yeah, we might need like a fork
we're gonna have
or
to
something.
Oh, I thought you was being real. Oh, is it that thick?
Yeah, there you go. Just do it like that.
Is that enough?
Yeah, that's like the least hot part of the paste. That's good.
Do I need more?
No, that's good.
All right.
It's gonna be hot.
I see what you're saying is like not wanting to come out.
It's hot.
What are you feeling on the inside right now?
Heat.
Warmth and love. I'm warmth and love. It's a little warm. Is it one of the slow creepers too?
Oh, it's still creeping.
Is it?
Okay, so while it's
Yeah, let's
creeping, do you guys have any go-to sounds or phrases that you make when you hook a big fish that you wish you didn't make? And if you do, then show it to us.
No, yeah.
I don't catch very many big fish, so I don't know.
Or
That's-
any fish,
that's what
maybe
I'm
not
saying.
big, but just any fish. Is there something that just like naturally happens, or you react, but you wish you didn't do it because it's
I'm about to start
embarrassing?
reacting right now. I don't know. I think sometimes I say biggin, and I'm hoping it's a biggin.
I think we all do that because that was
Yeah.
gonna be mine.
Yeah.
I should have went first.
Yeah.
Giant. I will say giant. It sound like freaking Mike Acanelli every time I said a hook. I didn't say that today though. I will say that I did not say that today.
It's a little warm.
On my cast to catch. I'm not proud of it, but I do say "Oh my God" a lot for some reason, like repetitively over and over and over. I wish I didn't say that.
And you don't even realize that you're saying it.
No,
It just
no.
comes out.
Oh, absolutely not.
This is the last one, so.
All right. Son of a gun.
Dang, where's your drink, boy?
Oh gosh, that's a big clump.
That's what I did on the last one.
I'll wait on you.
It had like a dry spot on the end of what you were trying to do, and I got past it and went bloop. I was like, oh.
All right, I'm just going.
It tastes different than the last one? Does it taste better or worse?
Oh, that's
Worse.
awful.
That's worse. So far, the bomb is hotter.
Yeah.
Maybe. Let's give it a minute.
I don't know. This one right behind it.
I don't know. My mouth might be on fire from the last one too. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's pretty close.
I think
This
that
one
one's
hit
hotter.
faster.
I don't know. My
I
nose
think we
is
just
running.
doubled them up.
Yeah, my nose is running. So
Yeah, mine is now too, for sure.
Yeah,
A little sweaty?
a little
maybe?
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's warm.
Okay.
You want to try?
No, I don't want to try it. No, thanks.
Get me another drink.
Next question.
I'm gonna eat my chip.
If you had to pick one song to describe your fishing career, what would it be? The title of the song. An actual song, so not like a made-up one, but like an actual song that everybody knows about.
One more time. Say that one more time.
If you had to pick the name of a song to describe your fishing career, what song would it be?
Probably Eric Church Roller Coaster.
We're talking about fishing, not how hot your mouth is.
Dang, my eyes are watering. I gotta think of something better than that.
They're gonna probably all be country.
That's a pretty, yeah, for sure. That's a pretty tough question, really. For some reason, the first thing I thought in my head was Nitty Gritty Band, Fishing in the Dark, but that is not.
That's it then.
Yeah.
If that's the one you thought of.
I don't know why Inner Sandman came to my mind.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
I don't know on that one. You have to ask another one.
Yep.
I see you got a whole bunch.
So, is that last one, has that been the hottest one you've ever had?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Or is
They
it
were
not
so
the
close
hottest?
together.
I think the one before.
Yeah.
Is it the hottest sauce you've ever had?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
It's hot though. It's not mild.
It's not mild. It's hot, but it's definitely not the hottest.
It's hanging.
Well, you know, the more you drink, the longer it hangs.
Okay.
But
So last question. What decade was the golden year of professional fishing?
2000s, 5, 10. By 2010s.
Why?
I say 2010s. That's,
that's
like,
when you watched and paid attention?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's when you had Van Dam on a tear, Skeet Reese, Mike Icondelli, you know, and they were just, the money, the payout was incredible too on all that. You know, they were fishing for $500,000 classics,
Yep.
you know, back then. And then the FLW was doing good. You know, you had David Dudley winning $1 million for the
I remember
Forest
that.
Wood Cup. And yeah, I would say 2010, somewhere around that area. And just, I feel like everyone was fishing back then too. Like just, I don't know, just like, even like the tournaments, like in our area, you know, like the Nichols and stuff like that, they would be drawing 300 to 400 boats and stuff. And nowadays, we just don't have the numbers like that anymore. And I don't really understand why. I don't know if it's just because there's so many other trails out there, or just the cost of what it takes to fish nowadays is so much more than the golden days, I guess you could say. That's just my opinion. Mm-hmm. And plus, yeah, I was a young kid. I was still young, and that was just like,
That's the era I grew up watching.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I wanted to get on there and watch TV and I wanted to watch professional fishing, I mean, that's, and of course you got, you know, the old traditional, you got Bill Dance and all of them, obviously, but we're talking about professional.
Yeah.
I would agree that's who I watched and that's who I was invested in at the time, right? So that's kind of.
and YouTube wasn't a big thing either, so like, you had it like a DVR or something, like you would record them, and like you look forward to going home and watching Bassmasters, and they had a, you know, a series, and then the FLW would follow it up, you know, like in January, FLWs would always follow it up, and like I could almost tell you every person who like won every single event and through so many years. Like I watched all of them. I was so for a fan perspective, I think that was the golden years. I know the payout and stuff was better. I don't know what the right answer is for that, but from the outside looking in, that was the time to be watching bass fishing. Yet your Danny Brower's still there, and just I don't know. That's my answer, anyways.
That's I mean, pretty much like I said, that's what I grew up watching. You know what I mean? Before the forward facing sonar, all that stuff. Just what I grew up watching, what I was invested in at the time.
Well, thank you guys so much for sitting down with me. I really appreciate it. Amazingly complex answers on some of them, others not so much. You guys definitely kept a straight face, except I guess with the bomb.
It's on your finger, now you gotta lick it off.
Oh, yeah.
So,
save
yeah,
that for
thank you guys
later.
very much.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.